3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. Welcome to Matt Reviews Books, and I am Matt. And this is a book review channel dedicated to older books. Books that were at one time bestsellers, but aren't any longer. Though this week might be the exception. If that sounds like a good idea to you, or good time, if you're interested, follow along. Subscribe down below, down there. There's a notification bell too that you can punch, or poke, or click, whatever you want to do. And that will tell you whenever I upload a video, because you want everything I got. This week we're back at it, and this week we are talking about The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, book 1 in the seminal series Lord of the Rings. I first read it when I was 11. I've read it at least once a year, every year since then. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a year, to be honest. So that's like 30 years. So I've read this like 30 times. Have I got it memorized? No. A lot of times I will read it and there will be a turn of phrase that I don't quite remember from the last time I've read it. And it's always enjoyable. Or there's something else that I appreciate that I knew, that I remember, but this time it seems like it resonates with me differently. This, though, sets the bar. It sets the standard against which all fantasy is measured. Well, at least in my opinion. What is Fellowship of the Ring? Fellowship of the Ring is the story of the 9 companions. Starts off with Frodo and Sam, and they quickly pick up Merry and Pippin. Then the next one to join them would be Strider. Then along the way, they get to Rivendell, and they meet up with Legolas, Gimli, Boromir, and Gandalf. They have a magic ring that good old Bilbo Baggins found in The Hobbit. We'll talk about that later, like in a few weeks. Bilbo finds a magic ring. Turns out it's the one ring of power that's owned by Sauron. And, well, he wants to find it to control the other rings and to control Middle-earth. Can't let that happen. The only way to get rid of the ring is to destroy it. So, what do? They plan to take the ring to Rivendell, where the elves live, and the elves can figure it out. Only, it turns out that nobody is really willing to pick up the ring and do it, except for good old Frodo. Frodo volunteers to take the ring to Mordor. One doesn't just simply walk into Mordor. So, the rest of them agree to go with him. They volunteer. So the 9 companions set forth, and along the way, adventures abound. Seemingly, Gandalf falls in the mines of Moria, and Boromir has this, it kind of goes a little bit crazy. At the end, the group shatters. So, there's a whole lot in there that if you don't know about the story, you should go read it. You should go read it right now. Just to keep your book nerd cred legit. It's the original quest story with the original companions as they go off and try to do a thing, which in this case is to drop the Ring of Power into the fires of Mount Doom. This is the original escapism for me. It was a hot summer. I was visiting my dad in El Dorado County, and if you know about the foothills of California, they're hot. They can get hot. And it was one of those where he said, all right, read this, because I was going out of my mind. And I did. I read The Lord of the Rings, all 3 volumes, in about 4 days. And one of my favorite parts is this little foreword in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring. Nobody seems to talk about it. It's almost like a little research paper on hobbits. Tolkien wrote this little explanation of hobbits. It's like an ethnography of hobbits. That's the core of the story. That's Middle Earth. That sets the stage. And from that point on, everything else just seems shades of color and vibrancy within the Shire. And then as you move out, the shades become darker and more somber, but there's still this color that's all anchored originally in the Shire, which is home. It feels like home. As much as Tolkien's background and linguistics and folklore and knowing Anglo-Saxon and Norse mythology, beyond that, for me, it's this core, this thesis almost, that he sets up before the story even begins, of establishing this world and this base, this anchor. And that is Lord of the Rings. That's Fellowship of the Ring. Well, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you got something out of it. Let me know down below if you have read Lord of the Rings and what you thought. And also, if you haven't read Lord of the Rings, tell me why you haven't. Comment. And I will see you next time.